New at 5:30, President Obama says the entire world is appalled by the murder of an American journalist by terrorists in Syria. James Foley had been missing since he was kidnapped in 2012. A video released yesterday appears to show his beheading.
10 on your side's Erin Kelly talked to a local professor with ties to Syria. Erin?
Dr. Donald Smith lived in Syria for several years, and he, like so many others, says he's horrified by Foley's murder, but says the behavior of the terrorists is not surprising.
Jim was a journalist, a son, a brother, and a friend. He reported from difficult and dangerous places, bearing witness to the lives of people a world away.
James Foley went to Syria to tell stories about what the people there faced during a civil war. He disappeared 2 years ago. Foley's murder, publicized in a video released Tuesday, puts a face on the growing struggle between the U.S. and terrorist group ISIS, also known as ISIL.
Jim Foley's life stands in stark contrast to his killers. Let's be clear about ISIL. They have rampaged across cities and villages, killing innocent, unarmed civilians in cowardly acts of violence.
It's those acts of violence that the president said led him to launch airstrikes this month to neighboring Iraq from the Norfolk-based USS George H.W. Bush. ISIS has threatened the life of another journalist if the strikes don't stop. ODU professor Dr. Donald Smith lived in Syria for several years. He says Foley's murder could lead to more involvement in the region, potentially impacting the military in Hampton Roads. He's still in touch with a friend from the country who describes Syria as chaotic.
He says, I can't even get in if I drive 5 miles. I'm going to run into 2 or 3 roadblocks, and I have no idea who's going to be controlling the roadblocks, whether there's someone who's going to want to kill me or someone who's going to want to support me.
Smith says there's no easy solution, but he now thinks airstrikes in Iraq might be too limited against the terrorists.
I think I would go in and clean them out, frankly, because they're a danger to all of the Middle East. They're ultimately a danger to the U.S.
The Committee to Protect Journalists says that more than 80 journalists have been abducted in Syria and estimates that around 20 are currently missing there. President Obama has said the U.S. will be vigilant and relentless, but he has vowed to not send combat forces back into neighboring Iraq. Erin Kelly, 10 on your side.